There is a lightness you have not felt in several days. Not excitement exactly, something quieter than that. The specific sensation of pressure releasing from a place in your chest that you had stopped noticing was under pressure. Yesterday, the sky was heavy. Mars met Neptune in Aries, and the fog arrived, thick and disorienting, the kind that does not announce itself but simply makes everything look softer than it actually is. If you felt that strangeness, that strange heaviness behind your ribs that had no medical explanation, that tightening in your jaw that arrived without cause, you were not imagining it. The sky was speaking through your nervous system before your mind could categorize what it was saying. But tonight something changed. Tonight, while most people are checking their phones and scrolling past the ordinary and the extraordinary with equal indifference, the planet Venus and the planet Jupiter have formed a connection that deserves more attention than anyone is giving it. And what nobody is telling you about this alignment is that it did not arrive by accident. It arrived the night after the fog. This is not a coincidence. It is a continuation, a cosmic sentence that began with collision and is completing itself with an opening. And the opening only stays open for 48 hours. Here is what is actually happening in the sky tonight. Venus is at 16 degrees and 47 minutes of Taurus. She has been in Taurus since the 30th of March. And Taurus is not just any sign for Venus. Taurus is her home, the sign she rules, the place in the entire zodiac where Venus is most fully herself, most undiluted, most able to express what she actually came to offer without the distortion that other signs introduce. When a planet is in its home sign, ancient astrologers called it in domicile. And a planet in domicile is a planet operating at its highest natural authority, not exalted, not received, not in a foreign land trying to make do. Home, with full access to its own resources. And Jupiter is at 16 degrees and 47 minutes of Cancer. Jupiter has been in Cancer since its station direct on the 10th of March at 15 degrees of this sign. And Cancer is not just any sign for Jupiter. Cancer is the sign of Jupiter's exaltation, the place where Jupiter reaches its most sovereign expression, where the greater benefic is not merely present, but ruling from its highest seat of power. The medieval Arabic astrologers, whose calculations have guided celestial interpretation for over 1,000 years, designated Cancer as the specific territory where Jupiter's gifts are not just available, but guaranteed to their fullest measure. The throne of the greater benefic, two planets, Venus in her home sign, Jupiter at his exaltation, both at the same degree, 16 degrees and 47 minutes. Both speaking to each other through a sextile, the aspect that ancient astrologers called the aspect of opportunity, of invitation, of a door that has been placed in your path that requires only that you notice it and choose to walk through. This is not a collision. This is not a test. It is a gift wrapped in ordinary night sky and delivered to people whose hearts have been heavy enough to need it. Let me tell you how rarely this specific configuration occurs. Venus moves through the zodiac in roughly 1 year. She spends about 3 to 4 weeks in each sign. She is in Taurus, her home sign, for only those 3 to 4 weeks each year. Jupiter moves through the zodiac in roughly 12 years. He spends about 1 year in each sign. He is in Cancer, his exaltation, for only that 1 year. For Venus in Taurus and Jupiter in Cancer to be in sextile, both planets must be in these specific signs simultaneously and at compatible degrees. The window where these conditions align is not a window of years, it is a window of days, and tonight is inside that window. The next time Venus in Taurus will sextile Jupiter in Cancer requires waiting for the full Jupiter cycle to complete, 12 years, and then waiting again for Venus to arrive in Taurus at the right degree. In recorded human memory, there is no catalog of moments exactly like this one, in this year, with this surrounding sky. Now here is the part nobody is discussing, the sextile itself. Because most readings will tell you that a Venus-Jupiter sextile is pleasant and leave it there. Pleasant. As if pleasant is what you came here for. As if the difference between a pleasant evening and a threshold moment were only a matter of intensity. But the sextile between Venus and Jupiter carries something that pleasant does not contain. It carries access. A sextile is geometrically the aspect of 60 degrees. And 60 degrees, in the language of the ancient sky watchers who built the foundation of everything we call astrology, was the aspect of the open door, not the forced door of a square, not the direct gift of a trine. the invitation, the door placed in your path that you must still choose to open, the opportunity that exists only if you are paying enough attention to see it and bold enough to move toward it. And this specific open door, tonight, with Venus in her own sign and Jupiter exalted, is the most abundantly furnished room this corridor offers in all of 2026. What is inside it is not random. What is inside it is precisely calibrated to what you have been carrying. Because Venus rules what you value and what you are worth, Jupiter rules what you are willing to expand toward and what you believe you deserve. Together, they are asking a question that the fog of yesterday's Mars-Neptune collision could not pose. Because fog does not ask questions with clarity. Tonight, the sky can ask clearly, and the question is this: what do you believe you are allowed to have? Not in the abstract, not as a philosophy, in the specific rooms of your actual life. Because Taurus is not an abstract sign. Taurus is the earth beneath your feet, the food on your table, the money in your account, the body you inhabit, the pleasure you give yourself permission to feel or refuse. Venus in Taurus with Jupiter in Cancer is asking whether the things you value have been receiving the same care and investment you give to the things you fear. Because most people are extraordinarily disciplined about their fears, they maintain them with attention, revisit them at 3 a.m., tend to them the way a gardener tends to the only plants in the garden, and they leave the things they love untended. The relationships that could deepen, untended. The creative impulse that could flower, untended. The financial ground that could grow roots, left dry. Jupiter in Cancer has been retrograde since November. For 4 months, the planet of expansion was working inward, building depth rather than breadth, fermenting the emotional material that was not yet ready to move forward. On March the 10th, Jupiter stationed direct at 15 degrees of Cancer. It woke up on its throne. And since that moment, it has been moving forward, slowly at first, and then with increasing momentum, through the degrees it already covered. And tonight, it reaches 16 degrees and 47 minutes, and finds Venus waiting at the same number in Taurus. This meeting did not happen by chance. Jupiter has been walking toward this moment for weeks. Think about what Jupiter in Cancer has been doing in the months since November. Cancer is the sign that governs the primal contract between need and nourishment. The place where what you hunger for and what you are given exist in conversation with each other. 4 months of Jupiter retrograde in Cancer means 4 months of examining the architecture of that contract in your own life, where you stopped asking for what you need, where you trained yourself out of expecting to receive, where you built the identity of someone who does not require, who manages, who is fine with less than what would actually sustain them. That examination is now complete. Jupiter is direct, and Venus in Taurus is meeting it tonight with the specific energy of the planet that governs what you deserve, operating from her home, at her most powerful, at her most honest. The ancient Babylonian astrologers who first mapped the sky with enough precision to record these planetary meetings understood Venus-Jupiter contacts as moments of divine generosity. They called the combination of these two planets, the two benefics, the presence of what they named the double blessing. Not luck, not fortune, blessing. The distinction matters. Luck arrives without a contract. Blessing arrives in response to something you have already done. The work you put in during the months of preparation, the honesty you found during the retrograde season, the things you let dissolve in Pisces before the water receded, the sword you carried into Neptune's fog last night without dropping it. All of that is the soil the double blessing grows in. And tonight the soil is ready. Let me tell you what your body is telling you about this transit, because the body always registers the signal before the mind has language for it. If you have felt unusually warm today, not from temperature but from something inside, a warmth that moves through the chest without exertion, that is Venus in Taurus. Taurus governs the throat, the neck, the voice. The warmth you feel in your chest right now is the planet of worth operating in her home sign, sending a signal that what you value is alive and present and close. Do not dismiss it as mood. It is not mood. It is information about where to direct the next 48 hours of your attention. And if you have noticed today that a specific person has been on your mind more than usual, not with urgency or anxiety, but with a quality of warmth that resembles the way you think about something you love that you have been too busy to visit. That person, that feeling, that connection is what Jupiter in Cancer is pointing toward. Cancer is the sign of the people who hold us, the ones whose presence makes the ordinary feel like enough and the difficult feel manageable. Jupiter exalted in Cancer is not pointing you toward expansion in the abstract. It is pointing you toward the specific people and relationships and domestic foundations where the expansion is ready to happen if you are willing to water it. Here is what most people will do tonight. They will feel the lightness, they will notice the warmth, they will sense that something has shifted since yesterday's heaviness, and then they will attribute it to sleep, to coffee, to the weather, to anything except the sky. They will let the 48-hour window that Venus and Jupiter opened tonight close without ever deciding to walk through it. Because the door Venus and Jupiter open with a sextile is not the kind that announces itself. It does not come with fanfare. It comes with the quiet, surgical certainty of something that has been placed precisely in front of you and requires only that you stop and notice it before it moves on. So here is the practice for the next 48 hours. Not a ritual with candles, not a visualization, a decision. Tonight, before you sleep, name one thing you have been withholding from yourself that genuinely belongs to you. Not a thing you should want, not a thing someone else told you would make you happy. The thing your body recognized the moment I said it. The thing that lives in the warmth in your chest right now and has been living there for weeks, maybe months, without being acknowledged out loud. Venus in Taurus asks you to name what you value. Jupiter in Cancer asks whether you will allow yourself to receive it. Write the name of that thing on a physical piece of paper, one sentence. Begin it with the words, "I am allowing myself," and then let the sentence finish with whatever is true. Not what is reasonable, not what is safe, what is true. Fold the paper once. Place it somewhere you will see it in the morning. And in the morning, before the noise of the day fills the room again, take one action that moves toward what you named, one specific action, the kind that makes the allowing real rather than theoretical. Because here is the thing about a sextile that most readings will not tell you. The opportunity it opens requires your participation to activate. A trine delivers. A square tests. A sextile invites. And invitations expire. The door Venus and Jupiter open tonight will be open for approximately 48 hours. In 2 days, the energy shifts. Mars will still be moving through its conjunction with Neptune. Other pressures will arrive. Other transits will compete for the sky's attention. The specific combination of Venus at her most powerful in Taurus and Jupiter exalted in Cancer, sextiling each other at the same degree in this specific year, will not present itself again. What is the thing you are allowing yourself tonight? Write it in the comments, not the edited version, the one your body recognized. Someone will scroll to that comment later, in a different part of the world, at a different hour, carrying the same withholding you have been carrying, looking for confirmation that it is possible to simply allow. Your one sentence is that confirmation. The sky opened the door. You are the one who names what is worth walking through it for. Subscribe and turn on the bell. The next transit arrives in less than a week, and it is not small. What Venus and Jupiter open tonight is the preparation for what comes next. You will want to be here when the sky speaks again. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands.